Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Everlasting Summer Part 11? I'm not sure this time. What exactly is so horrifying about that? It's only 9 a.m. You might have decided to go for a walk. You don't know Shurik. She looked over at me seriously. Well, no, I don't. But I don't see anything suspicious in this situation. Okay, let's stop panicking. We'll find him. How could he miss breakfast? Yolana grinned. Exactly, time to eat anyway. The pioneers proceeded into the canteen. Yet again, I had no choice where to fit in. The only free place was at a table with Alyssa and Yolana. Take a seat! She pointed at the chair next to her. I sat down. Aren't you gonna get your food? Good idea. I hadn't thought about that. Today's breakfast didn't look much different from yesterday's, but it looked more appetizing. Or maybe I was just hungry. Or maybe I was eager to finish it off as soon as possible to avoid yet another Yolana prank. Want to go to the beach with us today? When? Right after breakfast. Generally speaking, relaxation wasn't on my agenda today, but if I was going to spend my time thinking, why shouldn't I do it while getting a suntan? Sure, why not? Cool! She smiled nicely. I bet you're planning another prank. No, not at all. Yolana waved her hands at me. She sure is. Alyssa grinned. She's always like that. No way! Think she's right. Nobody believes me. Yolana took her tray of dirty dishes and stood up. Enjoy your meal, she said in such a way which left no doubt nothing good awaits me today at the beach. Me and Alyssa were left alone. You know, I guess I shouldn't go with you after all. Why's that? Well, got something to do. And what exactly would that be? She looked in my eyes and I couldn't even find an appropriate excuse. I don't even have a swimsuit. Try mine. You think it'll fit me? Give it a try. I don't think it's worth the effort. Don't be a wimp. We'll find you some swimming trunks. Those words only added to my fear. Wait for me by the canteen. I'll be back soon. Okay. There's nothing wrong with waiting for her, is there? Finishing my breakfast, I left the building and sat on the stairs. Pioneers, all having their own business, hurried past me one by one. No one stopped by me. Not even looked in my direction. It seemed they didn't consider me a stranger, but exactly the opposite. Just another teenager their age, their comrade, you could say. I caught myself thinking that I had started to consider this camp and its inhabitants with not as much caution as I had on the first day. Indeed, Alyssa was back in a couple of minutes. Ready? Ready for what? She gave me the trunks, though you could hardly call them trunks. They looked like pink boxers decorated with butterflies and flowers. Actually, they were boxers. I'm almost afraid to ask, but where did you get these? Too scared to put them on? Well, you know, I have not the slightest intention of doing so. I appreciate her joke, but wasn't going to make myself a laughingstock. Put them on, she said roughly. Why don't you try them on instead of me? I think that the color of this swimsuit would set off your eyes very nicely. Let's make a bet. I had no desire to accept their bets. No thanks. Alright, you either go to the beach wearing them or you swim naked. Weighing the pros and cons, even the second option seems better than the first. I'm not planning to go anywhere at all. Then I'll tell everyone that you left these trunks in my cabin. Why would I do that? How should I know? She burst into laughter. I don't want to argue with Alyssa, so I decided to go to the beach in the end. But not in those flamboyant trunks. Okay, I'll be there in 10 minutes. Don't be late. She ran off after saying that. I dragged my feet to the leader's cabin to get a towel and to hopefully find something like Trunks. If you want to find Trunks, just ask Vegeta. Olga was waiting for me in the room. Semyon, did you hear anything about Shurik? Same as half an hour ago. I walked to my bed and took a towel. You going somewhere? Yes, to the beach. Wait, do you have swimming trunks? You came here without any luggage as I recall. Strange. That fact didn't seem to surprise her during our first encounter. No. So what will you wear? Good question, what? I don't know. Wait a minute. She walked to the wardrobe and unlocked a drawer. In a moment she had a pair of normal black trunks. Where'd she get those? More importantly, why? Someone from the previous session might have forgotten them. Considering all the strange things in this camp, it really wasn't surprising to find men's swimming trunks in Olga's room. Thanks. The trunks were just my size. I got changed behind the cabin, and went to the beach. A lot of pioneers had already gathered there, but I recognized only Alyssa and Yulana. Come here! I walked over to them and sat on the sand. I see you found something better. She stared at my trunks and smirked. As you can see. Come on, let's swim! I don't want to. Maybe later. I was not a fan of swimming. Suit yourself. The girls ran into the water. Why did I come here? Why am I not looking out for answers? Should I care about it now? Sovyonok seemed normal. Certainly a lot of strange things have happened to me during these 3.5 days, but not one of them, taken separately, seemed at all supernatural. Especially since I didn't get any closer to finding so much as a clue. On the contrary, everything that has happened has only confused me more. What alternatives do I have? I won't get any truth from the local residents, though I doubt they even know it. Should I try to leave this place? But how far can I walk, considering that I don't even know where I am? It turns out that my only option is to wait. After some time, the girls came back. Yulana held something in her hands. Look! I looked up and saw a crayfish. Just a normal crayfish. Yulana lay next to me and started to torment it. Leave the poor animal alone. Why? It's just a crayfish. So what? It has the right to live too. I'll rip off its claws and ask the cook to boil for dinner. As if we have nothing else to eat. I looked at Alyssa. She seemed to be totally uninterested in Yulana's fun with the poor sea creature. Tell her. What's wrong? It's a crayfish. It deserves it. It looks like the girls missed their lessons on nature in primary school and lacked empathy for the environment. Give it. I snatched the crayfish off Yulana. Blech. Suit yourself. I was a little surprised she didn't resist. I looked into the eyes of the poor animal. They didn't express anything at all, but I thought that if it could speak, it would certainly be outraged. Maybe it would even go to the UN Convention of Human Rights. Human rights. Human. To tell the truth, I wasn't sure that would help. I took the crayfish to the river and set it free. Never mind, I'll catch more. There are plenty of them here, said Yulana. No doubt about it, I mumbled. Time passed and I was getting sleepy. I fell asleep. I don't remember what I was dreaming about, if I was dreaming about it all, but I woke up when someone shook my shoulder. Olga stood next to me. Did you come to swim too? I asked, still half asleep. No. It's almost time for lunch, and we still can't find Shurik. Are you dressed in your bathing suit, then? The leader said, standing before me in a wet swimsuit. And? I want you to look for him. It seemed like I'm the only pioneer in this entire camp. I was sincerely outraged. Every time it was getting clear that Olga considered me her errand boy, to be used like a slave, or vice versa. If I came to you, then I want you to help me. Why exactly me? However, after giving it some thought, I decided to agree. After all, my shoulders and back got sunburned while I was sleeping, and searching for Shurik would let me get acquainted with unexplored locations of the camp. Okay. It was not exactly right to wander around only wearing swimming trunks, so I'd get changed first. Ten minutes later, I stood outside Olga's cabin, deciding where to go. Where would we I don't think it actually matters. Fuck it. Let's go to the forest, I guess. Or, what's right here? I guess that's Slavia and Olga? Oh well. Guess it would make sense to talk to them first, see where they've checked. But it's still a stupid idea. If Shurik was hiding anywhere in the camp, he would have been found by now. Of course, assuming he wants to be found. So I hardly think I can help them. Together with this thought, I entered the cabin and stretched myself on the bed. Nothing good will happen if Olga finds me here. Stop, enough. Am I just some trembling creature, or do I have rights? I didn't want to do anything anyway. The day was just as hot as the previous ones, and the only thing to do was stay in bed and wait for lunch. I was just falling asleep when somebody knocked on the door. Come in. Slavia stood at the doorstep. Olga isn't here, is she? No. And what are you doing? She asked with suspicion. I looked over myself lying on the bed and said, lying down, I can see that. I heard Olga asked you to find Shurik. Well, yes. And? What's the point? I'm sure she already turned the whole camp upside down. Not much time has passed. Why should we panic? You know, stuff could happen. Pff, I don't care. Actually, no, we need Shurik. He is the leader of robotics for the Russians. Slavia looked at me thoughtfully. Get up. Do I have to? I was so worn out that even the thought of going somewhere frightened me. Yes, you do. Slavia is not a person who I could ever say no to. Really? I could. Hey, Slavia. No. No. Superman no here. I stood up reluctantly and went out of the cabin with her. We stood at the doorway for some time, relaxing in the beams of the summer sun, though I was rather frying. Where shall we go? We have to look everywhere. Great idea, just great. The first stop on our route was the library. Slavia went to Zhenya, sitting at the table, and spoke to her. I just stood in the doorway. I didn't want to communicate with the librarian any more than necessary. A few minutes later, Slavia came back to me. So? Nothing. She shook her head, as expected. The canteen. We still had time before lunch starts, so there was no usual crowd of pioneers. It was empty inside and outside the building. While Slavia was talking to the cooks, I was sitting and playing with the salt shaker. Some salt spilled out of the pot. Certainly I would be worried if I were superstitious. But strangely enough, he wasn't here either. Yes, it's so strange that he wasn't in the canteen. It would be unexpected if she had found him, for instance, in the refrigerator. The next stop according to our plan was the infirmary. I decided not to go inside and waited outside for Slavia. No results. There were pioneers playing football on the sports ground. It would be hard for Shurik to get lost among them. Finally, we reached the clubhouse. You think he could be here? I think that's the first place people would have searched. Let's go in. Empty inside. Slavia opened the door and went into the next room. I followed her. This all seemed to me to be a stupid undertaking. This was strange, especially because it was Slavia's idea. I mean, I understand responsibility and so on, But isn't it obvious that he isn't in the camp? After all, he isn't playing hide-and-seek with us, is he? No one here either. What did you expect? He'd be sitting in a closet? Well, it seems like I've offended her. Sorry. Hey, don't be sorry, Semyon. All these places we looked were stupid. But seriously, I understand. But we have to check all possibilities. Okay, listen, what do you really think? About Shurik's disappearance? Yeah. Maybe he went into the forest and has been caught by a forest spirit. You dumb woman. She laughed at that. What a fabulous story. However, in this camp you never know. Yes, true that. But now isn't the time for jokes. Cheer up. We'll find him. I hope so. Slavia smiled. Well, I still have some things to do. See you later. She left, but I was standing there for some time, staring at the Cybernetics Club's closet. However, I was so inspired by Slavia's actions that I decided to continue searching somewhere else. Forest. There's no reason he'd be at the fucking bus stop. That's stupid. It was obvious that Olga and her pioneers had already searched every nook and cranny of the camp, roamed the length and breadth of it, so probably it's not worth looking for Shurik in the canteen or on the beach, or in the Cybernetics Club. It was his second home, or maybe even his first. Thus it might be worth looking around the surrounding forest. I didn't plan to go far into the forest, otherwise it might be me who be there. It might be me who they'll be searching for tomorrow. I didn't really visit the countryside often. I just stayed in a country house every summer during my childhood. But that one was very close to the city. But in this camp, it was possible to find everything I hadn't seen for so long. Overwhelming vegetation, singing birds, and fresh air. I found a meadow and sat on a stump. How peaceful this place is. But where in the world is Shurik? Actually, he could have been taken against his will. This camp is far from normal, so pioneers' disappearances should not be all that strange. An intriguing possibility. Could it be the work of whichever force sent me here, or is it just some separate local entity's doing? Lost in my own thoughts, I didn't notice how the grass before me started moving. I looked closely and saw a squirrel. It approached me carefully and stared at my hands. Probably used to getting fed here. Sorry, friend, I don't have anything with me. Of course, the squirrel could not understand me, and continued to just sit there, waiting for treats. I felt sorry for it, because I didn't have even a crumb of bread in my pocket. I realized that I'm even ashamed to look it in the eyes, and decided to move on. You're a weird guy, Semyon. After some more wandering, I came to the washstands. Turns out that he is not in the forest either, at least not in the surrounding area. And going farther is just frightening. I walked to the washstands, took off my shirt, and tried to wipe myself down, because I was all sweaty. However, it wasn't so easy. I won't be able to get into the wash bowl, and there isn't even a ladle. Suddenly, I heard footsteps from behind. I turned around. Electronic was walking in my direction. Looking for Shurik? Yeah. You too? Me too. Listen, you know him better. Where could he have gone? I don't have a clue, he answered sadly. Well, I just don't understand why everyone has made such a fuss. During the night, wasn't he in the cabin with you? Then he can't have been gone for too long. Maybe he went for a walk. You don't know Shurik, said Electronic excitedly. He is fanatically dedicated to his work. His life consists of robotics and cybernetics. People like him are 1 in a million. No, in a billion. His talent is boundless. I look up to him. He is a man of steel. No, simply triumphant. At that moment, he looked like Hitler, making a speech in front of a crowd of thousands. Even his gestures matched. Okay, so what? So what? You don't understand, do you? No, I'm in the part there. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later. Peace.